Hello boys and girls, my name's Tom, and today on the show, live bears! Not really. It'd be exciting though, wouldn't it? This is Safehouse. It's been an interesting week of news. We found out we're going to be getting a Masters of the Universe movie, and zombie spin-off Fear the Walking Dead is due to hit our screens, and we found out that Alan Tudyk of Firefly fame is going to be in a Star Wars film. He'll be providing motion capture and voice acting for an entirely CG character, which isn't unusual to find these days, a CG character in live action film. It's weird to think that not long ago, game developers would make games with live action film instead of CG characters. And to talk more about that, here's my good friend and co-host James Pickard.
F&V games, they were all a bit shit, weren't they? Doesn't stop people trying to make them, even in 2015. By now, game designers have found far better ways of telling stories in a game than trying to recreate a DVD chapter select menu. It's been a while since the genre's reared its ugly head in gaming. The last one I really remember was Darkstar back in 2012, which I reviewed and awarded a whopping 1 out of 10. Now we have Missing, an interactive thriller, and it's really naff. The premise is simple. Imagine a Saw-esque challenge organised by a 4chan hate mob. They kidnap some random guy and shove him in a room, handcuff him to the ceiling through some weird shackles, and ask him to break out from all manner of tricks and traps. However, and I shit you not, some of the challenges range from word searches to shuffle block puzzles to then running away from C4. Who comes up with this shit? There's also some detective gumshoe who's trying to track him down, whose biggest interaction in the game is a quick time event where you have to try to stop him spilling his coffee. It's all over in about 20 to 30 minutes, and the next chapter promises some big twist with an ambulance or some bullshit. It cost £1, so I'm not really too sorry I paid to play it, but I probably won't rush back to play it more.
D23 was last weekend, in which Disney were able to show off exciting new things about their properties, including the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Doctor Strange and Captain America getting new trailers and sizzle reels, and the Star Wars universe, in which we saw the first cast photo from Rogue One and this beautifully painted poster for Star Wars Episode 7. Episode 7 is directed by J.J. Abrams and is due for release at the end of the year. It stars John Boyega, Daisy Ridley, Oscar Isaac and Adam Driver alongside the iconic cast from the 1977 classic. But these are all things any tertiary Google search could turn up. Things you probably already knew. Well, here's some things you didn't know. Star Wars Episode 7 is subtitled The Force Awakens, but it wasn't always that way. During production, it was referred to as An Ancient Fear, and other working titles included Star Wars Reloaded, Live Free or Star Wars, and Return of the Jedi 2 Electric Boogaloo. The film was to feature a subplot in which a mysterious hooded character would stalk Han Solo until revealing himself in a climactic showdown, saying, "My name is Greedo Jr. You killed my father, prepare to die." At which point, Han would have just shot him immediately and without warning, because that's the sort of thing Han Solo does, and has always done. It's hardly a secret anymore that Daniel Craig of James Bond fame is playing an unnamed stormtrooper. Well, he's not the only one. Also playing unnamed stormtroopers, Judi Dench, Ed Sheeran, WWE superstar John Cena, the stars of the 1998 England World Cup squad, and that dodgy CGI Patrick Stewart from the shit Wolverine film. Legendary composer John Williams is returning to score the film, beating out other prospective hopefuls such as Hans Zimmer, Danny Elfman, and Chris Martin from Coldplay. Oh shit, yeah, that's only 4. Jar Jar Binks is back, and he's being played by Chris Pratt, because he's in everything these days.
This week's Thing of the Week is Volume, the new game from Mike Bithell, who previously made a name for himself with Thomas Was Alone, a game about coloured cubes and blocks. trying to escape from a virtual AI environment. Volume is a slightly different beast, a modern retelling of the Robin Hood myth, structured as the VR missions from a Metal Gear Solid game. Robert Loxley streams these heists from a virtual environment, sneaking into buildings, avoiding guards, and stealing the loot with the assistance of his AI companion, played by Danny Wallace. Bithell's managed to round up quite an impressive cast for the game. There's Charlie McConnell, the YouTube personality, and also the world's first CGI movie star Andy Serkis, who's playing the game's villain. As for the game itself, it's a very solid stealth action game that manages to recreate that same sort of tension and excitement with the Metal Gear series. It's definitely one worth checking out now on PS4 and PC.
Wrestling. Sometimes it gets silly.
Oh, there it is! What is it?
But in spite of its many obvious glaring flaws, I love it, so it's no surprise I'm quite excited for WWE SummerSlam tonight, in which we'll see The Undertaker take his revenge on Brock Lesnar for ending the WrestleMania streak, John Cena will take on Seth Rollins over his broken nose and injured pride, and there'll be an intercontinental title match between Ryback and the two dullest human beings on the face of the earth. But those aren't the matches I want to talk about today. What I want to talk about is a match born out of a rivalry between Stardust and actor Stephen Amell. For those out of the loop, Stardust is the in-ring persona of Cody Rhodes, the youngest son of recently departed wrestling legend Dusty Rhodes and the brother of eccentric superstar Goldust. When Cody debuted, he had no distinctive character of his own, so WWE Creative slapped his brother's gimmick on him and set him loose as Stardust. All credit to him, the Stardust gimmick is awful, but he ran with it. He took a watered-down Goldust knockoff and turned it into a cosmic psycho from the fifth dimension with a superhero obsession, which is where Stephen Amell comes in. Stephen Amell is the actor who plays the Green Arrow on CW's show The Green Arrow, because that is the name of the character and you shouldn't fuck about with it, CW. He attended a taping of Raw back in May, in which Stardust got all up in his grill. They bickered over Twitter for several months like every passive-aggressive post-breakup couple you've ever known on social media, until recently Amell attended another taping of Raw in which Stardust shoved him to the ground. Amell then jumped the barricade, entered the ring and battered the piss out of the superstar from the fifth dimension. The big man upstairs, Triple H, arranged for them to have a match at SummerSlam, but a tag match because Stephen Amell's in-ring wrestling experience ends right after jumping over the top rope, throwing himself at a man who looks like a gimp in a sci-fi film. Stardust is being joined by British badass King Barrett, presumably because he too has been given a series of worsening gimmicks over his career, and Amell is being joined by Adrian Neville, also a Brit, and the man that gravity forgot, known for his high-flying style and silent stoicism. Although that's mainly because he's a Geordie, the Americans can't understand a word he says. Only a few days ago, Stephen Amell posted a vlog on his Facebook about packing for SummerSlam and showed off the Green Arrow costume from the show, saying, "You didn't think I'd be coming without this, did you?" So it looks like tonight we'll be seeing a man in a ridiculous outfit, teamed with an Englishman in tiny pants, take on another man in a ridiculous outfit, teamed with another Englishman in tiny pants. Wrestling gets silly sometimes. So that's about it for this week.
Yeah, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed what you saw, be sure to like, comment or subscribe and all that usual nonsense.
Yeah, and also check out our podcast, which I'll link to shortly. So, thanks for popping in, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.